Admiral Tahoe Kim stood frozen before the holographic display. His old face showed the light from the sad video playing over and over. 3 million people were gone. The human colony of New Eden was now just dust and broken parts floating in space. "Play it again," he said very quietly. His helper, Lieutenant Juwu Park, waited before answering. "Sir, you have watched it 17 times. Again." The video showed the last message from New Eden. The colony's leader, Governor Haijin Lee, looked calm even though alarms were ringing all around her. "This is an emergency message to Earth Command. Strange ships have entered our star system. They won't answer our calls and have started shooting at our space stations. We err." The message stopped suddenly. Then the video showed the planet lighting up with bright flashes as energy weapons hit it from space. The alien ships looked smooth and clear like crystal and seemed to bend light. They came with no warning. Just before they attacked, they sent a message in perfect English. "The galactic hegemony has decided that humans cannot expand into space without permission. This punishment is needed." Only one small defense probe from New Eden got away. It carried the video and other information back to Earth by jumping through space on a preset path. Admiral Kim finally looked away from the screen. "Get the meeting room ready. Call every country, every leader. Everything is different now." Back on Earth, people were shocked by the news. In cities around the world, crowds gathered to watch the video of New Eden's destruction. Many cried or stood in silence. Some were angry, shouting for revenge. President Hannah Baek called an emergency meeting at the United Nations. "This attack cannot go unanswered," she said. "For the first time, humanity faces a threat from beyond our solar system." Military bases worldwide went on high alert. Space telescopes turned toward Proxima Centauri, but the alien ships were already gone. Dr. Minjin Ryu, Earth's top expert on space technology, studied the probe's data. "These aliens are advanced, but not unbeatable," he told the Emergency Council. "Their weapons use energy types we theorized about. Their ships move in ways we've calculated. They're ahead of us, but not by centuries, maybe only by decades." While leaders debated what to do, Admiral Kim visited the Space Defense Academy. Young cadets watched him with wide eyes as he walked through the halls. He stopped at a window overlooking Earth. 10 years ago, we started this academy as a precaution," he told Juwu. "Some called it a waste of resources. Now it might be our only hope." That night, Kim couldn't sleep. He watched the stars from his apartment window. Among them was Proxima Centauri, where New Eden had been. He thought about the families who had moved there for a fresh start, the children who would never grow up, the future that had been erased. His computer beeped with a message. It was from President Baek. "Council meeting tomorrow. Bring your plans." Kim opened his files. For years, he had prepared for the possibility of hostile aliens. His plans included designs for warships, training programs for space fighters, and ways to turn Earth's industry toward defense. He had been called paranoid. Now he wished he had pushed harder. The next morning, Kim entered the council chamber. Leaders from every major nation waited, their faces grim. "Admiral," President Baek said, "you've warned us this day might come. What do you suggest we do?" Kim placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram of a massive warship. "We build," he said simply. "We build until we have a fleet that can ensure no human colony ever falls again." "How many ships?" someone asked. "Thousands at first, then hundreds of thousands. We have the resources if we work together. Every nation, every person with one goal." "And if these aliens return before we're ready?" another leader asked. "Then we fight with what we have," Kim said. "But I don't think they'll be back soon. They believe they've taught us a lesson. They don't understand that humans don't respond well to threats." "How can you be so sure?" President Baek asked. Kim looked at each person in the room. "Because if they understood humans, they would have killed us all instead of leaving witnesses. Their mistake was leaving us alive to remember. The council voted unanimously to begin the largest building project in human history. Operation Vengeance had begun. The United Nations meeting had gone on for 3 days with no break. Everyone was tired, but no one wanted to stop. The attack on New Eden Colony had changed everything. Defense Minister Minho Kang suddenly hit the table with his fist. His face was red with anger. 3 million of our people were killed without warning, without reason. While we sit here talking, these aliens, this hegemony, could be planning to attack again. Maybe Earth is next. The room buzzed with nervous talk. Some leaders nodded in agreement. Others looked down at their notes, afraid to meet anyone's eyes. President Sun Woo-choi stood up slowly. At 73 years old, he moved carefully. His white hair and lined face showed his age, but his eyes were sharp and clear. As the leader of the United Asian Federation, he commanded respect. When he began to speak, everyone went quiet. "My friends," he said in a steady voice, "for 50 years we have shown the world and the stars a peaceful face. We have told everyone that humans only want to explore and learn. But behind this mask, we have been getting ready for this very day." He pressed a button on the table. The big screen in the center of the room lit up. It showed pictures and plans that made many in the room gasp. "These are shipyards hidden in orbit around Mars and Jupiter. These are weapon platforms we built and called research stations. And these," he pointed to ships hidden among Saturn's rings, "are warships we have been building in secret for decades." The room was completely silent now. Many of the leaders looked shocked. "Some of you knew parts of this plan. Some knew nothing. We kept secrets even from each other for safety. But now we must all know everything. Operation Nemesis begins today." He looked around the room, meeting each person's eyes. "Every factory on Earth will now make parts for ships and weapons. Every mine will dig for materials. Every scientist will work on more technology. We will use everything we have in our solar system for one purpose only, to build a fleet that will protect all humans forever." A woman with short black hair and glasses stepped forward. This was Dr. Julian Ba, the world's expert on alien technology. "We are not starting from zero," she said. "For years, we have been studying pieces of alien ships that crashed on Earth. We have learned how their engines work. We know how their weapons function. We have even copied some of their technology." She showed pictures of strange-looking engines and weapons. "The hegemony will have more ships than us, but our ships will be better. They won't expect what we can do." After Dr. Bai finished speaking, President Choi asked for a vote. For the first time ever, every single country agreed on something. Operation Nemesis would begin right away. The news spread across Earth within hours. In cities, people gathered to watch big screens. Factory workers were told their jobs were changing. Students learned that schools would focus on science and engineering. Miners were sent to dig day and night. In his small apartment, Lee Juno watched the world changing through his window. Yesterday, he had been a simple bus driver. Today, he was told to report to a new factory being built just outside the city. "They need everyone," his boss had said. "Every person must help." Junho was scared, but also felt something he hadn't felt in years: purpose. As he packed a small bag, his phone rang. It was his daughter, Sume. "Dad, my university is closing regular classes. They're putting all science students into special programs. I'll be working on ship design." "Be careful, Sume," he said. "Dad, don't you see? This is bigger than being careful. This is about survival." That night, Juno couldn't sleep. He went to his window and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there were the aliens who had destroyed New Eden. Somewhere out there, humanity's enemy was waiting. "We will be ready next time," he whispered to the night sky. Across Earth, similar scenes played out. Old enemies set aside their fights. Rich nations shared resources with poor ones. For the first time, humans weren't divided by borders or beliefs. They were united by fear and by determination. In orbit around Earth, construction began on the first of many shipyards. Rockets launched every hour, carrying materials and workers. The moon became a military base almost overnight. Admiral Kim watched from his command post as the first keel of a warship was laid in space. "How long until it's ready?" he asked an engineer. 6 months for this one," the woman replied. "But once we have 10 shipyards running, we'll build 1 ship per day, then 1 per hour." Kim nodded. "And the special weapons?" "Dr. Baz's team is already testing prototypes. The aliens won't know what hit them." As night fell over half the planet, lights from new factories and launch pads lit up the darkness. Earth was changing. Humanity was transforming itself. For the first time in human history, Earth was truly one world, with one purpose: survival. 5 years had passed since the attack on New Eden. Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined before. Every resource, every person, every bit of human skill and knowledge now worked toward one goal: building the largest fleet of warships ever created. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had once been just floating rocks in space. Now it was a line of busy shipyards, with thousands of workers living in space stations. Every asteroid larger than a kilometer across had been turned into either a source of metal or a place to build ships. Captain Do-Hyun Lee floated through the corridors of Shipyard Station Epsilon, checking his tablet as workers rushed past him. He pushed himself through a doorway and into the main observation deck. Through the massive window, he could see his ship. The battlecruiser Vengeance was huge, over 2 kilometers long, with smooth black armor that seemed to swallow light. Workers in spacesuits moved around it like tiny ants, welding the last armor plates and installing final weapon systems. "Beautiful, isn't she?" said a voice behind him. Do-Hyun turned to see his second-in-command, Commander Narration. She had been with him since the beginning of the project, 3 years ago. 700,000 vessels, Do-Hyun whispered, shaking his head. "I still can't believe we did it." "Believe it," Neri said, handing him a tablet. "Here's the final crew list. Engineering is fully staffed. I added 2 more AI specialists like you asked." Do-Hyun nodded as he looked through the names. "And the new gravity weapons. Installed and calibrated yesterday. If what we know about hegemony shields is right, they won't know what hit them." The gravity weapons were humanity's secret advantage. Based on technology from a crashed alien ship found in the Arctic 50 years ago, they could bend space itself, creating crushing force that no known shield could stop. Do-Hyun handed back the tablet. "Let's do the final walkthrough. I want to launch tomorrow." As they moved through the halls of the station toward the ship dock, Do-Hyun remembered his life before all this. He had been a simple cargo pilot, moving supplies between Earth and the moon. Now he commanded one of the most powerful warships ever built by human hands. Inside the Vengeance, crew members stood at attention as Do-Hyun and Neri passed. Many were young. Too young, Do-Hyun thought. Some had been children when New Eden was destroyed. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Hoon Park was checking the fusion reactors. "Will she hold at full power?" Do-Hyun asked. Hoon smiled. "She'll give you 120% if you need it, Captain. These engines could take us to the edge of the galaxy and back." In the weapons control room, Weapons Officer Minji Kang was running simulations on the main screen. "Show me the gravity lance," Do-Hyun said. Minji typed commands, and the screen showed a simulation of a hegemony ship. When she pressed the fire button, space seemed to fold around the target. The alien ship crumpled like paper in a fist. 5 seconds to total structural failure, Minji said proudly. "Nothing can stand against this." Do-Hyun nodded, but his face was serious. "Remember, we're not looking to destroy their civilization, just to make sure they never threaten ours again." Similar scenes were happening throughout the solar system. Earth's moon had been partially hollowed out to serve as the fleet's command center. Mars hosted huge training grounds where millions of recruits learned to fight in space. Even the moons of Jupiter and Saturn had been turned into forward bases. The ships came in many sizes and types. There were huge dreadnoughts, bigger than small cities, fast cruisers designed to cover distance quickly, tiny fighter craft that could slip through enemy defenses, supply ships, repair vessels, medical ships, and stealth reconnaissance craft, all built for one purpose. 2 days later, Do-Yum stood on the bridge of the Vengeance as it moved into formation near Jupiter. Through the view screen, he could see hundreds of other ships, and beyond them, hundreds more, and more after that, stretching out until they looked like stars. A message came through on the main screen. It was from Jupiter Command Center. Admiral Kim wanted to address all captains before the fleet departed. The admiral's weathered face appeared on screen. He looked older than when Do-Yum had last seen him, with more gray in his hair. "Captains of the United Earth Fleet," Kim began, his voice strong despite his age. "Today we set out to ensure the safety of humanity forever. Each of you commands a vessel representing the work of thousands of people. Each of you carries with you the memory of New Eden." He paused, looking down for a moment before continuing. "We do not seek the hegemony's destruction. We are not going to become the monsters who attacked us. But they must understand that humanity will not be extinguished without consequence. They must learn that we are not alone in deserving a place among the stars." As the admiral spoke, Do-Yum looked at his crew. In their eyes, he saw determination, fear, and hope, all mixed together. "Vengeance is ready, Captain," Nari reported from her station. Do-Yum nodded. "Then let's join the formation. It's time humanity showed the galaxy who we really are." The first ships of the human fleet reached the edge of hegemony space after 3 months of travel. Commodore Ji-hoon Seo led 100 scout ships. Their job was to test the enemy's defenses and gather information. Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of his command ship, the Pathfinder. The stars looked different here, far from Earth. His crew worked quietly at their stations, checking sensors and weapons. "Contact," called out the sensor officer. 30 alien vessels approaching from the third planet. Ji-hoon straightened his uniform. "Show me." The screen lit up with images of the alien ships. They were the same type that had destroyed New Eden. Sleek, crystal-like vessels that seemed to glow from within. "They're sending a message," said the communications officer. The alien message appeared on the screen. "Return to your system or face correction." Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. These were the same words the aliens had sent before killing 3 million humans. He thought of his brother who had died on New Eden. "Send our reply," he ordered. "What should I say, sir?" Ji-hoon looked at the alien ships on the screen. "Tell them, we are the correction." The alien ships attacked immediately. They moved in a perfect formation, firing bright energy beams that could cut through normal ship armor. But these weren't normal human ships. "Activate gravity shields," Ji-hoon ordered. "Execute pattern delta." The human ships suddenly split apart, moving in ways that should have been impossible. The alien weapons fired but hit empty space as human vessels seemed to slip through dimensions. Lieutenant Yoon-ju Han, Ji-hoon's weapons officer, called out, "Gravity lances charged, sir. Target their lead ships. Fire." The human vessels released invisible waves of concentrated gravitational force. Space itself bent around the alien ships. 3 of them crumpled instantly, their crystal hulls shattering. 7 more spun out of control as their engines failed. "They're trying to retreat," Yeomju reported. Ji-hoon nodded. "Let the rest go. They'll carry the message back." Within days, news of the battle spread through hegemony space. On the hegemony homeworld, the Council of Elders met in their crystal tower. Elder Maxis, leader of the council, stood before a holographic display showing the battle. "A minor setback. These humans have some surprising technology, but they cannot stand against our main fleet." Elder Varen, representing one of the smaller hegemony species, looked worried. "Perhaps we should consider negotiating. They only sent 100 ships." "Negotiations would show weakness," Maxis replied. "I have ordered our main fleet to crush this human resistance. 5,000 warships will be more than enough." What the hegemony didn't know was that the scout force was just the beginning. As their main fleet gathered, human ships were already in position. Admiral Kim watched from his command ship as reports came in. His plan was working perfectly. The hegemony was concentrating their forces exactly where he wanted them. "All jump points are ready, Admiral," reported his tactical officer. Kim nodded. "Signal all ships. Operation Nemesis begins now." Across hegemony space, thousands of points of light appeared as human ships jumped in. Not just hundreds of ships, but hundreds of thousands. They appeared in 20 different star systems simultaneously. On the hegemony fleet's command ship, Admiral Zort received alarming reports. "Impossible," he muttered as the numbers came in. 700,000 human ships. They were a primitive species just years ago. The human fleet didn't just attack blindly. Admiral Kim had planned carefully. Ships targeted military bases, weapons platforms, and warships. They avoided civilian areas completely. After each victory, human ships broadcast the same message: "We seek justice for New Eden, not genocide. Surrender those responsible." This surprised many in the hegemony. They had expected the humans to be as cruel as they had been. Instead, the humans showed restraint. On the planet Nerix, one of the hegemony worlds, Citizen Taro watched human ships disable the military base without harming the nearby city. "They could kill us all," he said to his family, "but they're not." Similar thoughts spread through the hegemony. Many of its member species had not agreed with the attack on New Eden. Some had even protested it, but were ignored by the Council of Elders. Now, seeing the humans' power and restraint, they began to question their leaders. On 5 hegemony worlds, protests broke out. On 3 others, local governments declared they no longer recognized the Council's authority. Elder Varen secretly contacted other council members. "The humans are winning not just the war, but the hearts of our people. We must end this before our entire society collapses." Meanwhile, human ships pressed deeper into hegemony space. Captain Do Hyun Lee's battlecruiser Vengeance led an attack on a key military shipyard. "Target their power cores and weapon systems only," he ordered. "No unnecessary destruction." His second-in-command, Commander Nari, looked at him. "Sir, these are the people who destroyed New Eden." "Yes," Do Hyun replied. "And we will be the people who showed them a better way. That's the real victory." As the human fleet approached the hegemony homeworld, Admiral Kim received a message. The Council of Elders wanted to talk. The war was turning in humanity's favor, not just through superior weapons, but through something the hegemony hadn't expected: mercy. The great hall of the hegemony was made of crystal that caught the light of 3 suns. Admiral Kim walked slowly across the shining floor. Captain Do Hyun Lee and 4 armed guards walked behind him. Their boots made soft sounds on the crystal. 7 alien leaders sat at a curved table. These were the elders who had not run away or been removed from power. Their skin had different colors: blue, green, and gold. Their eyes watched the humans with fear and respect. The head elder, Sovereign Vasix, stood. He was taller than the others, with skin that looked like polished silver. "Your ships surround our homeworld," Vasix said in a voice that sounded like metal bells. "You could destroy us as we destroyed your colony." Admiral Kim stood straight, his old face showing no emotion. "That would make us no better than you. Humanity wants justice, not to kill your whole kind." Kim placed a small device on the table. It showed a list of demands in the hegemony language. "Our terms are simple. The leaders who ordered the attack on New Eden will face trial. You will pay to help rebuild what was lost, and we will create new rules for all spacefaring people to follow." Vasix looked at the other elders. Some looked angry, some afraid, but they all knew they had no choice. "We accept your terms," Vasix said finally. 3 months later, ships from 27 different alien civilizations gathered at Proxima Centauri. This was where New Eden had once been. Now a large space station orbited the planet. Inside the station's main room was a wall with the names of every human who had died in the attack. The planet below was green again. New buildings were being built. Life was returning. President Choi, now very old but still strong, stood before the gathered aliens. As Earth's first galactic ambassador, he spoke for all humans. "Today we turn tragedy into understanding," he said. "From our great loss, we will create new beginnings. The new Eden Accords that we sign today will protect all species from suffering what humanity endured." One by one, representatives from each civilization signed the agreement. It created new laws for space, made sure all people had rights, and set up ways to solve problems without war. Captain Do-Hyun Lee watched from a window high above the main room. His ship, the Vengeance, was docked at the station. After 5 years of building and 1 year of war, he felt empty inside. He had lost friends. He had seen terrible things. Commander Narration joined him at the window. She looked down at the planet where new human homes were being built. "Was it worth it?" she asked quietly. "All the work, all the deaths, all the changes to Earth?" Do-Hyun thought before answering. He looked at the room full of different aliens all agreeing to live in peace. "Look around," he finally said. "Humanity now stands equal with other star people, not as victims. And the next time someone thinks about attacking the human world," he pointed to the edge of the star system where hundreds of Earth ships floated in perfect formation. Even from here, they looked powerful and ready. "They'll remember the price." 2 days later, Do-Hyun walked through the memorial hall of the station. Pictures of New Eden before the attack covered the walls. Families looked happy in parks and schools. Workers built new buildings. It had been a place of hope. An alien child from the hegemony stood looking at the pictures. Its mother waited nearby. The child looked up at Do-Hyun, noticing his captain's uniform. "Did you fight in the war?" the child asked in simple English. "Yes," Do-Hyun answered. The child seemed to think about this. "My teacher says humans could have destroyed us all, but you didn't." "Why?" Do-Hyun kneeled down to look the child in the eyes. "Because that's not who we want to be. We want to build, not destroy." The child nodded slowly. "I'm glad. My father says humans and hegemony can be friends someday. Do you think that's true?" Do-Hyun looked at the wall of names, then at the child. "Yes, someday." As Do-Hyun prepared to return to his ship, Admiral Kim called him to his office on the station. "Captain, I have new orders for you," the old admiral said. "The Vengeance is being changed. We're removing most of its weapons." "Sir," Do-Hyun was surprised. "It will be our first exploration vessel under the new Eden Accords. You'll carry scientists, not soldiers. Your mission is to find new worlds, new life." Kim smiled slightly. "We built 700,000 warships. Now it's time to turn them into something better." Do-Hyun saluted. "Yes, sir." As his shuttle returned to the Vengeance, Do-Hyun looked out at the stars. They didn't seem as cold and threatening as before. There were new worlds to see, new people to meet. Humanity had come to the stars ready for war. Now they would stay for peace. The end.